Today I fucked up by poisoning myself and almost drowning. Last summer I wanted to do some endurance swimming. I took myself out to black sandy beach and challenged myself to swim across the lake. The distance was about half of a mile. I had done this a few times. I felt confident. On my way out I drank 5-hour energy drink, did some breathing exercises, and got in the water. It was a nice summer day and the lake had grown thick with green algae. Greens lined the shore fairly thick, but once I swam out a few yards I didn't have to contend with the bramble anymore. I was able to make my way steadily to the opposite shore. I decided I had plenty of time to explore. I started swimming south along the far bank, periodically turning onto my back to rest and enjoy the sunshine. Just under half a mile along I found a break in the shore and wondered if a river or stream flowed into the lake from there. The water there was stagnant, so there was no inlet, but I saw 2 deer coming up to the shoreline. I wanted to see how close I could get and I had my eyes trained on them. I was cutting across the cove toward the deer when I started to smell the scent of bitter almond. Odd. I tore my gaze from the deer and looked down at the water. The hue of the algae was no longer a mossy green but rather a teal blue. I was right in the middle of it. Started to get a bad feeling. My gut told me to go back to my truck. The swim back was longer. I had traveled a ways south. Pushed myself harder, intent on getting back. Some kayakers checked on me but I insisted I was fine. A little over halfway back a wave of exhaustion hit. That concerned me a bit, but I was determined to reach the shore. I eventually neared the shore. My legs caught in the undergrowth. I struggled to stay upright. My right calf started to cramp hard. I fought, kicking past the brambles with just one leg. Felt for the lake bed. I needed to touch bottom, to let my leg rest. No such luck. I pressed on. My other leg cramped. I was weirdly unconcerned. A moment later my foot touched bottom. Felt a surge of relief. It hurt to swim. It hurt to stand too, but I wouldn't drown doing it. Tiny alarm bells rang in my mind. Something was wrong. I felt great. Ecstatic. On top of the world. It didn't make sense to feel that way. I was in pain. I'd almost died. Why did I feel so good? I painfully made my way to the water's edge. I crawled onto the shore. I heard voices on the other side of the brush. They asked if I was okay. I tuned them out. I stretched my calves. I heard the voices say, "Yeah, she's fine." The ground beneath me shifted. I looked up at a tree. It was shifting too. It reminded me of a mushroom trip. I had not taken any drugs except caffeine. I should have been worried. I wasn't. I felt great. The cramping subsided. I made my way up to my truck. The world spun. I climbed in my truck bed to wait it out. I was reminded that I should be concerned. I should go to the hospital. I decided to go home instead. I still felt pretty good. I started to sweat on the highway. My window was down. My clothes were soaked. Why am I sweating? I made it home. I got in the shower. I kept turning the heat up. I was sweating. I was so cold. I stepped out of the shower and looked into the mirror. My lips and my tongue were blue. What the hell? I pulled up Google, checked symptoms but came up blank. I remembered the blue algae. I looked it up. I found a warning. The algae was poisonous. Cyanide. I had cyanide-induced hypoxia. Oh, shit. I got back in my truck. I went to Panda Express. What? I was hungry. I looked up the antidote to cyanide poisoning. I still felt pretty good. I was aware on some level I should be at the hospital. My urge to satiate my hunger was stronger. The antidote to cyanide poisoning was cyanocobalamin, aka vitamin B12. 5-hour energy has B12. The article also mentioned oxygen therapy. Well, I had that down. I breathed quite heavily during my swim. I picked up another 5-hour, downed it, went to bed, and passed out. When I woke up I told my husband about my experience. He got upset. He asked me why I didn't tell him to take me to the hospital. I wondered the same thing. I looked up symptoms of hypoxia again. One of the side effects of hypoxia is that you can be fully aware that you are dying but you just don't care. I'm lucky to still be alive. Too long didn't read. I swam through poison algae and almost died. Edit. Now that I have sobered from the experience I reread information on blue-green algae and I definitely had a distorted understanding of what was actually happening to me from a scientific point of view. I still feel that my story stands subjectively speaking because I was telling it from my experience in an altered mental state. I also had a checkup and my doctor says I'm okay, if perhaps a bit stupid by the look on his face. Glad you are okay, that sounds scary AF. Also now I understand why everyone freaks out about blue-green algae. I don't swim in the lake much, like once every few years, but every few summers there will be a big freak out over conditions favoring blue-green algae. Now I know why it's a big deal. Damn, I'm glad you're okay. To know you're dying and not care, that's just, wow. In my city we've have dogs die after swimming in the lake where there's that algae. The dogs seem fine, then they get home, lose the ability to walk, and die. Now there are signs posted everywhere warning people not to get in the water and keep their pets out as well. Scary stuff. Blue-green algae, actually a bacteria and not an algae, produces cyanotoxins, not cyanide. You can't get cyanide poisoning from blue-green algae. You were poisoned by cyanotoxins, not cyanide. Not the same thing at all. Cyanocobalamin, vitamin B12, will do nothing for you if you're poisoned by cyanide. Related form of the vitamin, hydroxocobalamin, taken intravenously, can be used. I studied these molecules for my PhD. Edit, see your doc as soon as possible. Tell him or her what happened. You may have suffered some liver damage and there's quick and easy tests for that. You'll have to give a small blood sample. Now, see, this is the kind of today I fucked up that I stick around for. Seems like most today I fucked ups are a writing exercise about the most outrageously foul bodily fluid moments. Except the coconut dude. That was actually worth the stomach churn. Glad you're okay op, and yes, poisoning and nearly drowning and then eating Chinese fast food rather than calling 911, genuine grade A B for the today I fucked up. Take my upvote and award. Today I fucked up by peeing all over my dog. I want to preface by saying this was totally accidental but hilarious. I understand that this may turn people off who might consider an accident as some form of abuse, so don't read on if you may get triggered, coming from a genuine place. I have a 4-month-old mini Orsidudial, Ace, and he is good and handsome. He's still learning about potty training and we recently fenced in a little dog run and we're working on transitioning him from wee-wee pads to go in a section of the dog run. We've been trying for days and using all tactics and nothing working. Tonight, I thought it would be a good idea to pee on the section, private from any neighbors, and mark my territory with the hope that the smell or the sight of a pee stream might awaken his bladder to its natural emptying. What I didn't account for was twofold. 1. It's windy AF tonight. 2. My puppy is a curious little son of a bitch, literally. So as I begin my life as a brilliant inventor of a new potty training method that I would sell to Caesar Milan for billions, I start answering nature's call and immediately realize it's a horrible idea. He starts jumping into play with the stream like it's last day of school recess 1994 and the sprinklers were on by accident. Now I may be the only male, but I highly doubt it, who cannot stop peeing once they start, but I was hopping around my backyard like goddamn Dr. Zaius after finding out Moses could talk. The wind was also swirling like Wrigley, so I'm spinning like a merry-go-round trying to avoid this poor puppy while laughing uncontrollably at how dumb I am for thinking this would work. In my dog-owning life, 6th dog, you think I would understand how puppies will literally eat anything shiny and or moving, and especially both. Needless to say, it's bath time for Race, crying face. The amount was also not substantial as I managed to escape his inquisitive body hurls. I will not take pictures BC of how bad I feel about this, and BC my wife will kill me if she finds out. Grimacing face. Too long didn't read. I thought peeing in my dog's pee area would awaken his urine instincts. Wind and a curious puppy foiled my plan and turned my goodest boy into a golden receiver. Edit. Thanks for the awards and comments, kind strangers. Smiley face. Golden receiver Lamau! Exclamation mark. Now I may be the only male, but I highly doubt it, who cannot stop peeing once they start. Ow. How many persons have the power to stop peeing once they started? In women it's used as a baseline for whether you have a strong pelvic floor or not. Before I got diagnosed with a bladder condition I had to do exercises until I could stop mid-flow to see if the issue was just weak pelvic floor. Taught my puppy to go wee-wee on a training pad, then got him a contraption that was essentially a pad of AstroTurf over a plastic containment system. Every time he went on it, I went nuts, going overboard with praise. He got the idea. Sorta. If I go wee-wee on this soft thing, daddy hugs me and gives me treats and toys. So no going on the tile floor. Yeah. The carpet in mom's room feels like poopy pad. Maybe her room is a giant poopy pad. Yeah. Yep. Trained him to go right past the whole tiled house to go in my poor old elderly mum's room. He'd even come in from outside to go on her rug. A lot of people actually recommend not using pads at all because it normalizes going indoors. My cat likes to jump up between my legs and look in the bowl while I'm peeing. Poor bastard got blasted with piss more times than your average porn star. You've done it now. He won't be able to go unless you're spinning and peeing next to him. Could be embarrassing when you take him for walks. Today I fucked up by letting it slip that I am not a virgin. Now let's start off with my entire family except my uncle are very strict Christians and all believe in the no premarital sex, but I see that as unreasonably. I believe that if you love someone enough that you can't express it enough in words, you should be able to express that in whatever way suitable. So yesterday I visited my GF and as you can probably guess we done the deed. So fast forward to today and I was talking to a friend on Discord and was talking about how I lost my virginity act, and I guess I was speaking a bit too loud because my mother came barging into my room screaming obscenities and told the rest of my family now I have been kicked out of the house for being a sinner and disgrace. So my uncle has taken me in. He says what I believe is completely reasonable, but he said, why do you think I left the family? They're all crazy nut jobs, so yeah, small prize to pay for salvation I guess. Too long didn't read, I had sex and got kicked out the house. That's a hell of a sentence. Must be pregnant from all the sex. No more period. Punctuation, motherfucker. Do you speak it? Sorry, punctuation isn't my strongest point. Punctuation must also be the work of Satan. Your uncle sounds like a cool dude. Did you know him before this event with your family, or were you kept away because he is the black sheep who left? Yes, I was told he was a terrible person and that I should stay away from him, but I managed to track him down and meet him. Turns out he done pretty much the same as I. He has a child before marriage and was shunned out the family, but he is super cool and my aunt is a musical genius and lets me play all her guitars. It's awesome, 1000x better than my parents' house. Doesn't matter, had sex.